Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, welcome back. Welcome
Thank
back.
you. Thank you. It was a really, really long trip.
Yeah, I followed via the Twitters as the older generation calls
The
everything. They had
tweetsters.
the Tweeters, the Walmarts, and it sounded like you guys had a lot of fun, so much fun. I can't wait to hear about it when we talk about BlizzCon. But yeah, welcome back to the land of the Canadian A's, and it's gonna be great.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really good to be back. Speaking of Canadian A, I just wanted to mention to everybody that we are actually recording on a holiday, at least a holiday
Hmm.
in Nova Scotia. I don't actually think it's a holiday in Ontario right now, but it should be because we are talking about Remembrance Day. So I just wanted to take a minute and thank everyone who has served, past and present. We remember on this day, November 11th, every year, of the sacrifices made to keep us free. So thank you so much for everything you do and have done. I know I have family that have served in the military, and it was a very, I don't know if special is the right word, but it was definitely a very important part of who they were. So it's
Yeah.
important on this day that we recognize that. So, all right.
Hmm.
that
It's
I hope
it's super important.
it's really important, and I get really emotional on Remembrance Day, so I'm like, must get through Remembrance Day. Blah. Okay. On to
Well,
the fun gamey things.
yeah, I will just I obviously I second all of that, and we're gonna start talking about something really funny and stupid in a minute. But like I think taking the time to talk about Remembrance Day and mentioning it, and it's named a lot of things. Leave it to Canada to give it a funky name, not Veterans Day or Memorial Day. It's Remembrance Day. Let's put a spin on it. And we have our I have my poppy, so if you're watching the video version, we're not supposed to put it on our shoulder. It's supposed to be over our heart so we remember. But my
then
camera
it, yeah,
is
then it's not in the frame.
my camera is focused on my face, not my, chesticle region, because it's not the kind of show we do. So it's just really important to remember
And
get out.
there, the important conversation goes right down the tubes.
Yeah, but I was out today. There was a lot of people downtown at the center, Cenotaph, I think it's
Cenotaph.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just paying their respects, and I saw a lot of people in uniform and a lot of people in dress with their medals and whatnot. So it's good. There should be more than one day here in Canada, but I think we always try to remember those who serve every day. It's just Remembrance Day is just a little bit of extra special flavor to it. So. It's really good. But on to the funny and crazy stuff. The reason we're recording at 9 p.m., I will mention that. I forgot to mention it last week when
Way
Bo
to
was on.
go.
I'm a terrible person. But, Bo was on. We recorded at 9. Bo Schwartz from Core. We talked a lot about Heroes of the Storm, a lot about Blizzard. More of that later. But I'm doing prenatal classes. My wife's pregnant. She's due in January, so I'm doing prenatal classes. And today was not about video games. I'm told there will be no talk about video games. But it was a breastfeeding class. And I got to tell you, folks, that if you ever say out loud, there's no way you can spend 2 hours learning about breastfeeding, don't say that because it's not it's you in fact you can learn 2.5 hours about breastfeeding and I it's very informative. I had my own boob. They had it's actually interesting. They have these tools that they give everybody. Everybody gets their own boob. Everybody gets their own baby, and it's really informative to learn because like when you really think about it, it's just like oh, it just happens. But no, you have to actually,
There's
you
a
know,
process.
there's a process, and it's not a Muppet boob. It kind of looked like a Muppet boob. It was like a felt thing. But anyways, that's where I've been, not playing
Playing with
video
Muppet
games,
boobs. That's
playing playing with Muppet boots. But yeah, no, it's been really entertaining. It's getting me ready for this big life event that's happening, and I appreciate everybody who normally tunes in at the 7 p.m. time and staying up a little later and tuning in at 9 p.m. I'm sure the West Coasters are like, thank God,
sweet. We
I
can
can have
finally
dinner.
listen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they're like, I can't wait. It's so glad that Ryan's having a kid. I can finally listen. It's late enough. But that's what I've been up to, and that's why we're recording at 9, and that ends on the 9th of December. We'll do another reminder at the end of the show. But video games, you went to Blizzard You literally went to Blizzard,
I
and then you
literally
literally
actually
went to
went to
Blizzard.
Blizzard, yeah. So that was really, really cool. I can't actually talk too much about it, but I did get to get my picture taken in front of the sweet, sweet statue.
Hmm.
It was a really great time. So just thank you to everybody there who made us feel very, very welcome, and just man, that tour was awesome. If you guys,
Sweet.
if anyone ever gets a chance to go and tour Blizzard, I absolutely take them up on it. It's really cool. And then so after Blizzard, I went to BlizzCon, which was just so fast and so intense. Like they need to make that 3 years. They have to because I mean, day one was just like panel after panel after panel after panel, and we had media passes, so we kind of like staked out the front row center of the media area because we wanted to be like right front row when Ben Brode was doing his Hearthstone announcement,
Hmm.
because we had had lunch with him the day before and he had mentioned that he was doing the panel all by himself, which apparently is a BlizzCon first of a main stage panel being done by only one person. So we were
He
like,
did a great job.
oh my God, he was so entertaining.
Yeah,
That guy.
I watched that. I mean, I had the virtual ticket, so I watched. I missed all the panels live, even the opening ceremony panel. I
Oh,
missed
yeah.
it live. So, but I went in dark. Like I was having lunch at work, and I was like, okay, I got to get home. I had not read Twitter, and then I finally just like I got there and I watched it. I rewinded the virtual ticket and I watched it live, and had the same experience that everybody else had. And that Hearthstone panel, I watched a couple of the what's next for all the major franchises,
Hmm.
and that Hearthstone one was probably the best one because it was all information, it was all locked in, and it was just Ben Brode being super psyched
Yeah.
about every single card. And I
He
think he
is
was
super
more
psyched about everything always. Like that man, I don't know how he keeps the hype level so high, but he is just in a great mood and just loves what he does. It's amazing to be around him. He's such a positive force. Chat room is also saying I said 3 years. What I meant to say was 3 days. It should be 3 days.
3 days,
3
3 years.
years,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
you want it to be 3 days, so
I
like
don't see how
check.
I don't see how they keep it to 2 days because right now they've got 5 games. They've got Overwatch in beta as well. I mean, unless they're gonna cut out StarCraft in terms of like having a world championship, but I really don't think that they will because that StarCraft arena was freaking packed. It was the biggest of all the esports venues. Like, I really don't think StarCraft is gonna go anywhere. So if we've still got StarCraft, that means we're going to have a StarCraft World Championship, an Overwatch World Championship, because Overwatch is actually launching this year, so it will be at BlizzCon next year. We're going to have Heroes, we're going to have Hearthstone, we're going to have Warcraft Arena. The only thing that doesn't have like a World Championship is Diablo. So we've got 6 games, 5 esports championships. You can't do announcements for all of those titles because like Hearthstone's gonna have an announcement for sure, Heroes is gonna have an announcement for sure, Overwatch, just from the way that those games are made, are all absolutely gonna have announcements. So we're probably gonna get an announcement out of Warcraft because by then Legion will have launched, so we'll probably have the what the next expansion is gonna be, and then we're gonna have hopefully something from Diablo. We won't have anything out of StarCraft because Legacy of the Void, like we're gonna talk about later, Legacy of the Void is the end of StarCraft II. So
Well, mission packs,
yeah,
right? Like
mission
they
packs, but
I was last week when we talked about it, I totally nailed mission packs. It was totally this pie in the sky. I wish Nintendo would make a Super Mario Galaxy 3 type situation where it's like, well, Blizzard can't just spend 10 years making this trilogy and then not continue to work with an engine that frankly is probably better than any 10-year engine out there. Like even World of Warcraft, I think StarCraft 2 really
well,
they've really kept it going.
Warcraft redid their engine with
Right.
um Draenor
Cataclysm.
Warlords.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. Blizzard's really good at continuing the longevity of their franchises because when it comes to Blizzard games, gameplay is king. And then so when you wait to add that fresh coat of paint, the gameplay keeps you going as opposed to other games. Like, could you imagine going back to play another MMO or another RTS that came out many many moons ago, like one of the red alerts from there's probably some red alert fans out there, but like, ah, don't you say it. It's like, but it's true, like that game does not look as good and it doesn't live up to standards, whereas but the gameplay of StarCraft is just there. I've probably pissed some people off, but that's fine. That's what I do. Just think of the Muppet Boob. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, StarCraft. I think it's gonna keep coming back, and it was a pie in the sky sort of prediction of like, oh, it'd be really cool if they continued the story with mission packs, and it was Nova, and
Mm.
that's exactly what it was. They even announced that there was gonna be an epilogue,
Hmm.
which is nice. Although kind of like they were kind of being careful not to spoil anything, but they still kind of did by saying like, "Oh yeah, 2 years later, and then this takes place years after that," and it's like I'm appreciative of all this information, but it still felt a little like, ugh, like it's too soon, guys. Just wait. I want to play the story.
Yeah, it is. See, and with BlizzCon, as much as I like it, there's a very, very fine line between giving us information and getting us excited and spoiling what's coming next, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I do enjoy a lot, and I find that Warcraft is probably the worst for this, and it's also probably because they have a PTR, so all their information is out there anyway.
Oh
But I find Warcraft is basically just like, Splah, here's all the stuff, and here's what all the zones look like. And then here in this zone, you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to meet these creatures, and you're going to find out the origin of this, that, and the other thing. And I'm kind of like, okay, but I might have actually been okay not knowing that going in. So I find that they, and as you just pointed out with StarCraft, with some of the other franchises, it's a little bit easier because I mean, like, they're not spoiling story. Like, there's no real story to Hearthstone. There's no story to Heroes of the Storm.
mhm.
So
Well,
if they
come on
say,
now. Let's not
well, there
step
isn't
on too many
really.
toes tonight.
There's
No,
no
I know.
big huge overarching, like, you're not playing through a campaign in Heroes. You're, you know, like, there's, it's the same sort of idea as Overwatch. There is a background universe, there's lore, there's stuff going on, but it's not part of the core gameplay. So you're not being spoiled when they say, you know, X, Y, and Z heroes are coming to Overwatch or are coming to Heroes of the Storm, the same way that you're spoiled by saying, when you enter this zone in Warcraft, you're going to encounter this, this, and this, and you're going to learn X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, well, why do
Yeah.
I even need to play now?
Well, the Warcraft stuff was a pretty big deep dive. Like they got right in there, and I only watched the first panel for Warcraft. I'm sure the second one is even more so. I'm more interested in experiencing sort of the Demon Hunter type story, like the Burning Crusade type stuff, and then leading onwards. Because I don't want to spoil that. I think it's interesting in how it deals with different timelines, similar to how the Death Knight worked, where you were playing a character, I think during Warcraft 3 or something. I can't remember, but it was just really cool. And you're right, like the only story that they don't spoil, funny enough, is StarCraft 2 in the sense that I've been playing. I'm 3 or 4 missions in plus the prologue, and there's some story that happens in that game early on that is
I
really
cried
good.
on stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know enough about those characters to be like, oh, that sucks, and then I move on. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was gonna
feel
say, and I am not gonna say any more than that. I'm just gonna say there are big emotional moments that happen very early on, and the StarCraft story in general has taken a really different direction than I think everyone thought, based on trailers and information that they had released up until this point. And again, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but because I mean, we should mention StarCraft II: Legacy of the Void just released yesterday, so we are definitely not going to spoil anything here on Gamers In. But
well, we should though eventually. Like we
we
should
will
do a spoiler
eventually.
cast.
We will do a campaign spoiler cast for sure,
Because
probably in a couple weeks. But
that game is rich with that story goodness.
it just it was really interesting how under wraps they managed to keep everything, because even like you said, you're 3 or 4 missions in. I think I finished 4 missions, so I mean we're in about the same place, although I think we did our planets in a different order, but still we're in about the same place. And man, it's not very far in, and it's totally different than anything I expected. So
Yeah, and the thing I'm really appreciating about StarCraft 2 as a trilogy, because when you played the original game, it set the Zerg up as the enemy. They were bad people. They were bad dudes. And then in StarCraft 2, you're always playing as the good guy. Because
Hmm.
I've never really appreciated, RTS's like campaigns where you're playing a campaign for every race and you are literally playing the bad guy,
Hmm.
you know? Like even in Warcraft 3, when you play as the undead, you were playing the bad guy to the game and you were doing bad things and doing bad things to good people.
Hmm.
And then in Starcraft 2, when you play the quote unquote bad guys, the Zerg, you are being a good person, even though you're playing the quote unquote bad guys. And I really appreciate the way that Blizzard's been able to do that with this trilogy. And I think splitting it into 3 games, now that we have all of it,
Hmm.
5, 6 years later, I'm glad they did it because could you imagine the story they'd tell with just one game and maybe an expansion?
Yeah.
I think splitting it up really, now it seems like it's a phenomenal idea. The story does not feel stretched. It certainly feels like they put a whole story in there. And when it was first announced, everyone was just upset. It's like, well, what are you doing this for? And I think, spreading it out has allowed us to play as the good guys every single time because it allows that sort of story arc to
Hmm.
take place.
That's so
It's
very true.
really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing kind of the three different viewpoints. Like, obviously, everyone is moving through the same history, moving through the same events, but to see like the Terran view of it, and then the Zerg view of it, and then the Protoss view, it's so complete and so diverse. I'm loving playing through StarCraft II right now.
Yeah.
But back to BlizzCon,
Sure.
because we kind of started with our topic of the week this week, kind of by
Yeah, that's
accident.
my bad. Because I'm super excited to find out. Like I was telling you pre-show, and you know what? Let's screw it. Let's just jump around. Just jump around, like good old Van Halen says. Jump around. I'm curious about BlizzCon because I've always experienced it from the virtual ticket, and my only other con experience has been Nerdtacular. And Nerdtacular on a smaller scale, it felt like, oh, I want to see all these panels, but I also want to hang out with all these people, and it kind of becomes a mixed bag. And sometimes you feel bad about missing a panel, and sometimes you feel bad about seeing a panel but missing people. With BlizzCon, it feels like you pick one or the other. And it's
Yeah.
nice that they give you the virtual ticket to catch up on it, but I feel like with blogs and websites these days, you might not even need the virtual ticket, you know?
BlizzCon is Nerdtacular on steroids, and I mean that in all the good ways and all the bad ways. Like, I mean, I saw a lot of Garrett and Katie, which was nice. I saw kind of a moderate amount of Dills. I saw Nevermore and Ben because I was staying with them, so we kind of like at the end of every night, I got to kind of regroup with them and go over everything that we did. But outside of that, it was hit and miss with who I got to see. I missed out on a lot of people that I wanted to meet, that I wanted to see. I didn't actually get to meet any of like the Hearthstone pro players, any of the commentators, this like streamers, like nobody, because I was just totally stretched and running all over the place all the time. So day one was pretty much just panels for the most part, which was also really difficult because I wanted to see a lot of the Hearthstone stage, but I couldn't watch the esports and see the panels at the same time, but didn't want to miss Broad's panel. It's getting to be too much. I would like to see them do one day of just panels and then 2 days of esports and just kind of separate it that way, like all the panels out of the way, day one done.
Yeah.
Because yeah, right now it's impossible to see everything and everyone that you want to, and I would rather, yeah, I would rather have the kind of choice to just do all the panels and get it over with,
Yeah.
because yeah, it. I think I saw Scott for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the meetup, and then during the live instance panel, and a couple minutes
Yeah.
after that, like it's like all these people that it was just like these little bits and pieces with, and it's never enough when you travel that far, like to have that short of amount of time with all your friends. It just,
Mhm.
man, it feels bad.
Yeah, and it's a long trip, and you kind of have to decide like, are you making the trip for the people, or are you making
Mm-hmm.
the trip for the experience of the panels? Because and no matter what way you shake it, like a lot of our friends are spread out around the world, and
Mm-hmm.
if we focus solely on North America, kind of, you know, sort of like stuck around all over the rim of America, like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere you could meet that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to do it at an event like this. And I know a lot of people have told me like just, fly out for BlizzCon, spend some time in LA, and also just do the AIE Guild thing and don't even go to BlizzCon. And
Yeah, and a lot of people
that's an
do
option
that.
too.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. The guild hall is always great. We did our live Angry Chicken there. They did a live ITN, a live instance. I love being in the guild hall. But even that, I felt like I didn't get as much of a guild hall experience this year. Like, I'm not 100% sure what I did this year, but I feel like I missed everything. Like
Yeah,
there was just so much going on all the time. I mean, I'm still getting texts today being like, "You were in LA? Like, what the hell?" I'm just like, "I'm sorry." Like, I tried.
yeah.
But it's
I
just,
mean, you
it's
can
so
only do
hard
so
to like
much.
connect. Like, even with Swick, I was trying to give Swick back the key to his house because I'd gone and stayed with him for a couple days, and it took us 2 full days just to be in the same spot. Like, it was insanity.
Mm.
Insanity. So, I don't know. It was an experience. I enjoy it every time, but it needs to be longer. It has to be.
Yeah. So, and the other thing too, like it just seems like a really cool event, and to no matter what, you're gonna enjoy yourself because you're immersing yourself in this universe, like many universes that you truly and utterly love. So, like, no matter what, you're gonna have a great time. So when I'm at Nerdtacular, it doesn't matter if I don't get to see everybody. It doesn't matter if I get to see every panel. It doesn't matter if I don't get to see and hear and just breathe everything. I'm surrounded by Frog Pants. I'm surrounded by Blizzard. That makes the trip super worthwhile. So it's not to say like you're not enjoying it, but to say like, would it be great if there was a third day? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
If there was a third BlizzCon day, like I know you could make your own third day, which people have done with Nerdtacular and BlizzCon with it's called DizCon.
DizCon, yeah. So they go to Disney. And that is one thing that we did. We went to Disney on Thursday. So, I mean, we went to Disney on Thursday. We had the meetup Thursday night. Then BlizzCon was Friday and Saturday. But I find they have so many franchises now, and there are so many things that I care about. I really enjoy Overwatch. I really enjoy Hearthstone, Warcraft, to a lesser extent, Heroes. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that they announced.
Mm.
Um, and I really like Starcraft. Diablo is the only one that's really fallen off for me. So I find that there's so much going on and so much that I want to know about that I feel like I can't miss that stuff because BlizzCon, Blizzard is the reason I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Eh,
catch up later, but I feel like I did that with Warcraft this year. I didn't really pay too much attention to the announcements. I didn't make those panels. I sacrificed them to watch a little bit of Hearthstone. So I feel like with Warcraft, I missed a lot of the announcements, although I can't find PvP information anywhere. I don't think they talked about PvP, and that scares me a little bit.
For what, World of
For
Warcraft?
Warcraft, yeah.
Uh, they might have mentioned it. There was a systems panel, but I haven't watched
I
it yet.
know. I looked
But
at
I
because
don't
that's where I
know
thought it was going to be, and I looked at the at Wowhead's overview of everything they talked about at the systems panel. Not one mention of PvP, and I'm just like, man, I really, really want to know about what's going on in Warcraft PvP, and I'm a little bit worried about what they might do. I don't think they're going to remove it completely, obviously, because they just announced that whole big prestige system at Gamescom. But at the same
Mhm.
time, the trailer and you saw the opening ceremony, right? So you saw the
I did.
trailer. Did you think they
Yeah.
were going to kill Varian? Because I thought he was so toast.
It's funny, like Varian, also known as Thrall, also known as every other character that Chris Metzen has voiced. It seemed like he was gonna go down, but I think it served the story well. I love the speaking of the live instance, I love Terpster's joke of like, oh, I just had to stand up because that's what
Exactly.
it felt like to me.
Yeah,
And
here
by
I
the
thought I
way,
was drowning, but really I was in like a foot of water, guys. Don't even worry about it.
we've all done it. We've all done it. You dive into the deep end and you're not looking because the chlorine's bothering you, and then you're like, oh no, I haven't come up for air. Oh wait, I'm in the short end of the pool. What do they
Short end of the pool.
the short end, where the short people stay so they can breathe. Sorry, that's terrible. My mother's short. It's fine.
Oh my
I,
god.
I'm sorry. Anyways, I wanted to say actually, speaking of the live instance and podcasts in general, and Jocelyn being at BlizzCon, I felt like you were a chair on the instance panel because every time someone said something funny, you could pick your laugh out of the crowd, which is not a negative thing. I think that's awesome. Uh, so if you want to hear Jocelyn on any of the BlizzCon panels, you just listen to the instance and the Angry Chicken, and I haven't listened to any of the other ones yet, but
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
a fantastic
I was
instance.
sitting right front row center for the instance panel, so I was heckling them a little bit, mostly because they were like, "Oh my god, there's this like super cool new mode coming in Heroes. It's like one lane and you get 5 random heroes." And I'm like, "It's Assault. It's all I've been playing in Smite for like 2 years. Like, get with it, guys. This is not new. They just literally put Assault mode into Heroes. It's awesome. I'm super stoked for it. I'm gonna play a lot of it, but I'm like, it's not new."
Yeah, no,
Did
no,
you?
no.
I was
Yeah,
like, did you just mute yourself? Like, what's going
I
on?
was I was defending myself in the
Oh,
chat room. Everyone's upset that I was poking fun at short people. I
uh,
don't think I was. I love short people, as I've said.
and Jayonce
I,
is not short.
it's true. I was just gonna say that, Jayonce. I've met you. You make a fantastic drink, but you are not short. I think
See,
he's taller than me.
Jayonce is one of the people who was apparently at BlizzCon that I just didn't even get to see. Like,
What?
exactly. I missed out on so much. I
You
want
have
I want all
Beyonce.
my people to be in one place for like a month. Can we just do that? Can we do some sort of like BlizzCon tacular full of nerds for a month?
Yeah,
Please.
like a live-in. Like a live.
Yeah. Like a commune kind of a something. I don't know.
Can we have Kool-Aid? Maybe?
No.
No, no Kool-Aid. Is that too
No
far?
no drinking the Kool-Aid.
What about sneakers? Can we all have matching sneakers?
Sure,
What's
sure.
other cult things we can come up with?
I don't know.
Robes. We all wear robes.
Ryan, you seem to know a lot about cults. I'm a little bit worried.
Played a lot of Assassin's Creed. I'm
uh,
telling you. They all wear the same sneakers. They all have the same. Yeah. No Kool-Aid. Fine, whatever. You guys, I had tons of fun with Kool-Aid, so I'm not gonna lie. So
but
no, that's
anyways,
I enjoyed BlizzCon. It's been a
I
lot of
did.
fun.
I really
Um,
feel like you having the virtual ticket though, because obviously I have access to the virtual ticket as well because that comes with your BlizzCon ticket. I have to go back and I have to actually watch everything because I missed so much of the panels. Like I know I saw like parts of the Warcraft panel on the first day, but not the systems one. There was another one, like what's coming in Legion or something.
mhm.
Um, I saw the Hearthstone What's Next. I saw the Heroes What's Next, where they accidentally leaked that Gul'dan is coming to Heroes. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
that guy's never gonna get to talk in front of a mic again. It's kind of unfortunate.
Isn't he like the lead director or the game
I
designer?
feel like he was like the art. I think he was the art guy, and
He
he
seemed pretty important.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was like the art lead on Heroes. Anyways, somebody came up. It was the last question. He said something along the lines of, with Gul'dan being so huge in Warcraft, why isn't Gul'dan in Heroes? And the guy, like, not even thinking, just said, "Dude, I kid you not, I'm working on Gul'dan right now." And they were like, "And that's the end of the panel. Everyone off the
Uh,
stage. Cue the music."
I mean, he's Gul'dan is going to be the Legion pre-order.
Yeah,
bonus.
I think so.
You know,
Yeah.
It'll be free, just like Tracer, and they'll obviously talk about this. Gul'dan will be, they probably just haven't been able to lock it in because, like they said, a 17-week development process, which sometimes gets thrown out. Cho'Gall has been in the process, like Cho'Gall. Let's talk about that. Two
Oh my
players
god, yeah.
playing the same heroes.
So
Uh,
cool. So
it's
cool. And the only thing that's
interesting.
cooler than the idea of two people playing one hero is how they're distributing him. So he's free, but you have to, like, so everyone who had the virtual ticket and everyone who went to BlizzCon,
Mhm.
I feel like there was one other condition how you could possibly unlock him.
Some people would they said a few amount of people will just have it show up. So I
Oh,
assume
okay.
like the streamers and whatnot.
Yeah. So those three groups of people have him for free. Then if I own him and Ryan doesn't, but we play 2 games as Cho'Gall, because basically as long as one person in your party of 5 has access to Cho'Gall, anyone can jump in and play it with that person who has access. So I could play Cho, Ryan could play Gall, and if we do that 2 times, then I'm unsure if you have to play 2 times or you have to win 2 times. But it's definitely, I think it's play 2 games as Cho'Gall. Then you unlock it free. So then after those 2 games are done, Ryan would have access to that hero. So it's almost like spreading like a virus through
Yeah.
heroes. It's a really cool dispersal mechanism, and I'm really excited to see. Like I said a couple times to people at BlizzCon, like I really want to see the numbers on the background and actually be able to like watch how it's spreading through the game. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah. Oh, they'll reveal that information. I think Blizzard loves their infographics. They probably had a whole team behind them. And when it comes to Cho'Gall, it's such an interesting way. And I think they had to do that with Cho'Gall. They could have just given it to everybody and been like, this is for everybody because it's such a weird mechanic. And there might be some arguments of like, well, how does it work? Do I have to buy it? And then if I buy it, I don't get to use it if someone else doesn't pick Cho'Gall.
Hmm.
Although there is some AI stuff there, but to really truly enjoy Cho'Gall, you have to have two people playing. So it's just easier to give it away for free, and just say have fun. But it's more fun to do this virus spreading thing
Hmm.
where a large group of people, some would say the most avid players of Blizzard games, would get it first, and then getting your friends to play. Because I mentioned this to you when we were catching up after you had got back home. I was like, I'm super into Heroes now. Like, you were gone, and I think it was one night I've been working a lot, and I was just like, I just have to play some video games. And I popped into, we played Heroes for game night, had a lot of fun, and then 2 days, like a week later, I popped into Heroes and Bo was playing, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump in with them. So we played until like 5 in the morning on a weeknight, which I never do. And I love Sylvanas.
Sylvanas
She's
is really
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
She's so fun. I bought her like sight unseen as soon as she wasn't free anymore. And every time I play Heroes, it's been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to playing more. And the arena mode
Yeah.
certainly has me excited. And we totally called Greymane. Like,
Oh,
we need Greymane.
Greymane looks amazing. So
He looks so
basically, Greymane switches because he is the king of the Worgens.
good.
So
Hmm.
he switches between a wolf form, which is melee, and a human form, which is ranged. I felt like they really started to think outside the box with a bunch of their heroes, and you could argue that, Abathur and Lost Vikings are already thinking outside the box. You have one person controlling three people with the Lost Vikings. You have Abathur, who never actually leaves the base and is a little bit kind of like the basis for Cho'Gall, because Gall is almost like Abathur's hat thing that he puts on somebody. So he can basically, like, he stays in the base and then he sends his little hat thing out and then he like casts spells from that person and the person controls the movement. So Cho'Gall is very similar. Cho, who's like the warrior guy, he actually controls the movement, and Gall, who is the caster mage, just hurls spells. And they both
Yeah.
have their own tech trees, their own talents, everything. It's really really cool. I think they're thinking outside the box with this, and it's same idea with Greymane, to have a character that can go so fluidly from range to melee. So cool. Like, I can't wait to get in there and to play as him, because I think just the whole animation of changing to and from the Worgen and the fact that it is his engage and then escape, so cool.
Yeah, no, and I when I first suggested like maybe they should do a Worgen, and it's like, well, is there any cool Worgens? And I guess yeah, the King is a pretty cool Worgen.
Yeah.
And the fact, and I agree with you, they're getting more creative with their heroes. They're not just sticking to let's do the guy with the gun, the guy with the bow, the guy with the staff, and the guy with the sword. And
Hmm.
good, that's our heroes for the next like 6 months. They're actually saying like, let's do the werewolf character. Let's do the guy who sticks around the base and throws a hat on people. I have not seen Abathur. That sounds really interesting. Let's
It's
do the
funny.
co-op Cho'Gall.
Abathur has been in the game since the beginning, and I think the only person that I've ever seen play Abathur is Kyle. I feel
Kyle
like
plays
he's,
everything.
yeah, I feel like he's a really complicated character, and he's probably kind of difficult to balance because he can basically jump across the map and add his power to different heroes. So I feel like he's probably difficult to balance, but I haven't seen anybody play him. And I should preface all of this by saying I don't actually watch Heroes matches. Like, I don't watch the pro stuff. I don't keep up with any of the esports. So I'm sure that there are people who Abathur, but I haven't seen them.
I haven't either. Like when we were playing Heroes, it's a lot of. Well, I'm a lower level, so we were queuing up with around level 20 people, and a lot of like free rotation, a lot of recent heroes that had
Mm.
come out, a lot of the heavy hitters that everybody uses, like I guess Nova and
Mm.
Raynor and those characters.
They're
But
pretty easy, I find, to wrap your head around.
Yeah,
They are like your basic kind of soldier characters. They're not too crazy, think out the box. Like they don't have any crazy mechanics, and they also don't have anything that's like kind of weird and magic-y.
true.
So they're really easy to identify with when you're first getting into heroes. So I can see that you would be seeing a lot of Nova and Raynor.
Yeah, and I've just been having fun with it. Like I would probably never solo queue. Um, I think I've always had fun with multiplayer games when I'm playing with other people. Like I don't think I could. I don't think I'm going to play multiplayer StarCraft II unless I'm playing with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing the comp stomps. I don't mind doing 2v2 when I'm doing ladder, but then again, I'd rather just play other folks. And Heroes of the Storm's the same way. I do like doing hero or what do they call it? Just I like queuing with Heroes of the Storm, so I get that extra XP and gold and stuff. But I need to have like people on Skype with me to be able to have that communication.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly helps having somebody sort of in the corner of your ear, kind of knowing what you should do and happy to guide you. Because I basically said like, look, I don't play very often. I know you guys play a lot, so just kind of tell me where I need to be and tell me if I'm doing something wrong because it's the only way I'll learn. And I know, and if you don't, I know that they'll be soft and kind and gentle. And if they weren't, it's like, well, that's probably the last game we're gonna play, right? But it
Yeah.
was really great, and it's just like our Smite time, like when Jimmy and Josh and you got really good at it. So every time I jump into Smite, it's like I say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? Like, what should I be getting? What should I be, you know, targeting? So it's the same idea, and I I really think that you would be able to get into Heroes if because I think we had the same problem where it's just it wasn't clicking. And I think
Mm-hmm.
playing with people who know how to play really helps
Yeah.
because you just basically you don't like hand the controls over to them. You just say, "I'm gonna do what I do. If you see me doing something kind of weird or you need my support somewhere else, just let me know."
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with sort of experience. So I'm, but I am really looking forward to Arena. I think the randomness of it, and again, queuing with your Skype friends and saying like, "Oh crap, we just jackpotted 5 Illidan's. It's gonna be crazy."
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think.
Do you get the feeling, and I think we might have mentioned this on Angry Chicken, or possibly they mentioned it on the instance, but I feel like Team 5 has had a lot of influence on some of these newer teams, like on the Heroes team and on the Overwatch team, because it feels like with Diablo and Starcraft and Warcraft, they were super serious. Like their game content is serious. I mean, Warcraft is a little bit different because they have, toys and all that kind of stuff. But even toys are relatively new to Warcraft. But
Mhm.
especially like Diablo and Starcraft, so serious. And then Hearthstone comes out, it has this fun, super quirky sense of humor, and Team 5 is just doing a whole bunch of fun stuff. This adventure that we just got, like, nobody saw it coming. They
Yeah.
flipped adventures on their heads. If you want to hear more about the adventure, then absolutely go listen to Angry Chicken. I'm not going to go way into Hearthstone right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like Team 5 just kind of came out with Hearthstone, and everyone went, oh my god, look how popular that is. Like, guys, we can make fun games again. And then we get Overwatch, and Overwatch is super like Easter eggy and super
Mm-hmm.
fun and quirky in its own right. And now we're getting Heroes, and they're doing things like Cho'Gall, and they're really starting to think outside the MOBA box. And I feel like a lot of that came out of Team 5 and out of Hearthstone's success. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to see from those teams in the next little while.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in terms of StarCraft 2 and seeing the modes that they've added to it, they're not afraid, like you said, to have fun
Hmm.
and tinker with what makes StarCraft 2 beloved around the world, which is multiplayer. Like they've added unit skins, they've added it's not just portraits you're getting for buying and supporting Blizzard games. It's nice that now we're going to get, oh, you get a cool unit skin now. It's not quite on par with a toy or a hero, but
Hmm.
it's still cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing they've added is co-op missions and
That's true.
Archon
That's
mode,
true.
you
Yeah,
know?
Archon mode and co-op missions. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that completely. Man, there's so much content out there from BlizzCon.
We are, it's we could you could never cover it, and we did nearly this happens every time that you're away. I apologize, but we did nearly a 2 hour episode of just predicting what was going to happen at BlizzCon, and we didn't even talk about you and I haven't even talked about the movie trailer
Oh
that got
man.
shown.
So
Did you like it?
a lot of people had a lot of problems with the movie trailer. I loved it. And I
Mm,
think it might just be because the people I hang out with are, first of all, super uber nerds and also into art as a profession.
sure.
So they had a lot of little picky things about it that I was kind of like, I didn't even notice that because Warcraft movie and it looked great. So
Yeah.
I feel like their vision might have been a little bit clouded just because of what they do for a living, which is understandable.
Yeah.
I
No, for
mean, when
sure.
I see maps and they've got cities in the wrong place, it drives me crazy too. So, I mean, I get it, but
Yeah, no, on that note, I had a funny story. I had a physics teacher in high school who said like as soon as I started learning more about physics, I could never watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon ever again. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's an extreme example, but
yeah,
no, you're right. Like you talk to an animator who sees a Telltale game and they just want to like throw their computer out the window,
yeah,
because someone's talking like, like they're
hmm,
off of South Park, and they're, going, it's weird. I
yeah,
can't like I'm not even animating correctly right now, but I watched the trailer. When I watched the trailer for the first time, not knowing what was going to happen, I'm right there with you in the sense that this is a Warcraft movie. This is a good thing. It looks decent in terms of it's not terrible. I think it looks fantastic. Like you
hmm,
could not get any closer to a real life orc walking around. And maybe that's my issue with it because at the end of it all, something felt off
really,
to
I
me.
didn't get that
Something.
feeling at all. I
It
walked
was
away from that
weird.
trailer being like, yeah, let's do this.
I think the issue is that I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. I don't. I think it might even be a great movie and a great video game movie,
Hmm.
and both of those things. But I think that trailer, the 2.5 minutes of it, tried to do both things at once in terms of swinging over to the audience that doesn't know Warcraft and saying, "Look, there's
Well, that's the
action
thing,
and
right?
smashing,"
That's what you
and
have
the
to.
other
Sorry, go ahead.
no, well, it's just the other half of it is like, but there's story, guys, and there's nuance. It's not just evil versus good. It's some bad humans, some good humans, some bad orcs, some good orcs. And it felt like it's probably going to be a 3 hour movie.
Yeah.
It felt like jamming a 3 hour movie into a 2.5 minute trailer, and you just can't do that. So that's what felt off to me. And I
Yeah.
was like, but that's a good thing because it's like, it's just how trailers work and you're very strict. I wish they had done what they did with Godzilla, which is the same production company, Legendary, where they didn't show the monster. They just sort of set up the world and what was
But
happening.
that's the thing, though, is that you can't not show the monster
Mhm.
because it's not that cut and dried. Like in Godzilla, there is a Godzilla. That's the
That's true.
monster. That's the bad guy. You can't really just show, say, Duratan
Mhm.
because if you do, then it's like you just have to show Duratan and the humans, and then that doesn't
Mhm.
really make sense because what are they even fighting against? And, like, so it's not as cut and dried. Like you said, good orcs, good humans, bad humans. So I think really you kind of nailed it in there somewhere where you said, that's the way trailers are.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
In your ramblings, there was a good point there.
There
Yeah.
was, there
Uh,
was. In that,
yeah.
yeah, that's the way trailers are. They're trying to appeal in 2 minutes to a mainstream audience who isn't familiar with the Warcraft universe, but who can identify with humans and who can identify with orcs. And the thing is, the story that they're telling here is very, very orc centric. And I think that because orcs are really hard to identify with, we didn't see the best of what the orcs are going to be, what their story's going to be, their animations, their big scenes. Obviously, all that stuff is left out of the trailer. It was very alliance, very human centric. And again, I think that's to pull in the mainstream audience because anyone who plays Warcraft, anyone who's spent any time in this universe is going to go see that movie. It is an amazing story. It's going to be the whole rise of the Horde through the Dark Portal, the first formation of the Alliance. Like, this whole area of lore is basically where we get Warcraft and World of Warcraft from. I'm
Mhm.
so excited about this. And there's
Yeah.
already scenes that they kind of teased at slash showed in the trailer where I'm like, I know how that scene ends. I'm gonna bawl my eyes out like a little baby.
Well, there's some sequel hinting in there as well because there's some thrall. There's some
Yes,
thrall in there,
there's, yeah, there's some
I don't know
that,
whether you
yeah.
can spoil a trailer, but I agree with you. Like again, I think the story is going to be fantastic. What they did in that trailer is they were showcasing four factions,
Hmm.
which is always tough in 2.5
Yeah.
minutes, especially when, half of those factions are the same sort of race, except with the orcs. You have the green orcs, and then you have the native orcs, the Durtan, the brown orcs, and it's
But even then, like,
yeah,
you can't even draw the line between brown orcs good,
yeah,
green orcs bad, because all of the orcs who spend any significant time on Draenor before it essentially explodes, they're green. They're corrupted with fell energy. So you can't even say like one clan is better than the other or any of that kind of stuff, because that's why Thrall is green, is he was born on a corrupted Draenor. So
yeah,
it's not so cut and dry. It's interesting. I'm really, 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 really excited about it. I think
yeah.
it's
Oh
going to
yeah, me too.
be a good gateway. It's going to get people on board. It's going to introduce people to Warcraft. It might even bring more people into subbing to World of Warcraft. Although they're going to get a real rude awakening when they realize how many levels they have to play through. But
Or that it doesn't look like ILM just spent a
Hmm.
weekend putting the graphics in. Yeah, again, it's a fantastic start to what is going to be 8 months of marketing. Like
Yeah.
let's also face it that this movie's coming out in June. This is the first full trailer that we've gotten. We haven't even seen Medivh. Uh,
Right?
I don't even
Did
know,
we? I
or maybe I don't
I
know.
think we
Medivh
saw
isn't in
him really
armor, is
briefly, and I feel like you had to know who he was to even pick him out.
because I'm looking
Um,
for Ben Foster, and he must not look like Ben Foster. So no, I don't know anything. I know of Garona, but I don't know who was the person sort of after Garona when she was in the cave. Like they were sort of embracing themselves. I don't know. Um, it's not the king is Lane, right? Like
yes. Yeah.
who's the guy who is like I've had a vision. There's bad things coming. Like near the start. Who is that cute alliance character? He's got significance.
I don't. I only saw it during the very opening ceremonies. I can't remember now off the top of my head.
Oh,
Um,
so that was Dalaran at the very start of the.
yeah, and
Oh,
that was
that
the
was
other.
Lane.
That was
Hmm.
the other thing. That people were saying, "Oh, Dalaran. Okay, that is Medivh. Okay, that's what I thought." Yeah, Medivh is the prophecy guy.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
thought Medivh was a mage.
he
Why was
is.
the mage? Why was Medivh in armor? Whatever.
It does. Yeah.
Again, like jamming a 3 hour movie with complex characters into a 2.5 minute trailer, and let's face it, although they have said the movie's done, the animations might be a little bit. There's some. I don't know. There was
The
just something that
animations
was off.
didn't bother me at all. Everyone keeps saying the animations, the animations, the animations. I'm like, I
I
didn't notice anything. Maybe I was
I
too
think
far from the
it's
screen. I don't know, but I think you guys are all just being way too picky.
No, I agree. I think it might be the Uncanny Valley thing, and it might just be the fact that it's a quick cut trailer, and then once we get in front of the movie with longer scenes, um, yeah. So, anyways, I enjoyed the trailer, and video game movies will have a new bar come
Hmm.
June 2016.
I
That's for
agree.
sure.
I agree. So that kind of covers our topic of the week. We should kind of switch over here and talk about what we've been playing. So we touched on the fact that we've both been playing StarCraft II. It's
Mhm.
awesome. If you guys haven't picked it up, I know a lot of you are playing Fallout 4, but Legacy of the Void is definitely worth your time if you are
Oh,
any kind of StarCraft fan, if you've played through Heart of the Swarm, if you've played through Wings of Liberty. If you gave it up after Wings of Liberty, come back because Heart of the Swarm, amazing. Legacy of the Void shaping up to be even more amazing. So many feels already. Just
mhm.
jump back into that StarCraft universe. Even put it on casual. No one's gonna judge. I'm playing on normal. Like,
Yeah.
don't need to go all hard or brutal. That's who does that?
Don't do that. That's
Kyle
like
Kyle
doing
does that.
heroic. Oh wow. I mean, that to make it fun, like to me, with Legacy of the Void, to make it fun is just to play the game because the things they add to the campaign, it's like you know what, we're gonna give you a power to just let you like warp in a pylon, and that is a small part of what you can do in the campaign that you won't be able to do in the multiplayer.
Hmm.
And your economy is really good in the single player. You don't have to really worry about that. It kind of pads it out for you. It's just, I don't know. I love campaign RTS. It just makes me wish I was better at multiplayer, but I'm gonna enjoy the campaign while I can, and those
Hmm.
mission packs coming, amazing. So
Yeah.
happy for that.
So I've been playing StarCraft 2. I've also been playing Overwatch, but in the absence of Overwatch, you've actually had your hands on Fallout 4. So I'm
Yeah.
not a Fallout person. Can I jump right into Fallout 4 or do I have to go back and play Fallout 3?
You can certainly just jump into Fallout 4. Those games, they're like every other Bethesda RPG in that the world, it helps to know the universe or the world you're getting into, but you don't really need to know it. Like you didn't need to play Oblivion to play Skyrim.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know, there's a book somewhere that references events that happened in Oblivion, and if you really read through it and you're like, huh, I wonder what that is. It sounds interesting. It's the same thing in Fallout 4 in that there are going to be instances, I haven't come across them, but I know they're going to be there. There's going to be instances in Fallout 4 where you see some offhand text or dialogue referencing things that would be familiar to you if you played Fallout 3, like
Hmm.
maybe some of the factions or
So more like Easter eggy rather than like you have to know this or you're not going to understand the main story.
yeah, exactly. And this one kind of resets, no, doesn't reset, but it the way the character progression takes place in the opening scenes of the game, it kind of introduces you to the whole universe. So if you haven't even played a Fallout, you kind of understand what's happening. In that they explain what the vaults are, they explain the war, they explain the progress of America and its role in the world and how it's shaping and why we have robots in early 2070. You know, it is actually interesting because did they just explain so much at the start and explain why 50s culture is sort of frozen in place throughout the next 200 years and it's really good and the character creation is really interesting. You can play as a male or female, fully voiced. And the way you mold your character's face, you can kind of make them look however you like. So you can certainly spend a lot of time in there. Um, and it just starts off with a bang. Now, mind you, if you're like me, you can get caught real quick. I've been playing with Connor, Ashley's sister's boyfriend. We're kind of playing sort of together, like passing the controller back and forth, and we were playing at midnight, and we finally got through all the like story introduction, and then we get to a point where it's like, all right, here's the quest where you get to learn how to set up your farmland and your house. So it
Well,
was
you
like,
have to do that.
yeah, it was like 3 in the morning, and I'm the kind of person who has to like listen to everything and do finish a quest before moving on. It's like, okay, now we're gonna go around and collect scrap, and then we're gonna go around. It's a really cool mechanic in building and setting up these settlements,
Hmm.
but it was kind of like rather than pumping the brakes, they just flat out like put the brakes to the floor. It was kind of interesting. Like they introduced you to this big open apocalyptic world and it's just like, okay, now you're gonna forage for food and plant melons while this other woman yells at you because she's just mean. Um, but the game is a lot of fun and I, I hesitate to recommend it because there's so much going on these days with games. So if you have absolutely nothing else to play, certainly check out Fallout 4. Uh, but it's going to be a time sink.
Yeah.
It's another one of those big RPGs, but I know you love Skyrim and Bethesda stuff so
I
much.
do.
It's
I have
worth checking
so
out.
much right now. Like with being away for 10 days, I want to get back into Assassin's Creed because that happened right
Right.
before I went away. I mean, I want to get back into just everything. I've got Witcher, I've got Batman that I never finished. I've just got so many games. Not to mention Hearthstone, the adventure, the first wing comes out tomorrow.
Hmm.
It
Oh
seems
yeah.
like every time I turn around, it's like new game launch, new game launch. I'm like, damn it!
Yeah, this
Fall
week's been
is the
crazy.
worst. Fall is
Yeah.
the worst and best.
Well, and this week is sort of the last hurrah for 2015 because I don't think there's really anything else coming out. There's a couple of games that are coming out in December that might be of note worth checking out. But Fallout 4
I
is
feel
really
like there was like more. There were two or three more titles after Fallout 4 that were coming that I was interested in, and now I can't remember.
I might be for like obviously there's Just Cause 3 at the start of December,
Yeah, no,
which is
that's not it.
again another open world Battlefront. Thank you, Grant.
Nope.
Battlefront's coming out. That okay. We're talking specifically
Maybe
games we're
Call of Duty. Call of Duty might be the one I'm thinking of, and I know it's already out, so that's just my bad. But Call of Duty is probably the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Call of Duty. I don't know. Like it's funny. It seems like they shifted back to multiplayer and that the single player hasn't been getting great reviews,
Hmm.
which But I'm interested in the zombie mode. I haven't played a zombie mode in a very long time. But um, yeah, Fallout 4 is just this. I don't know. It's just another one of those RPGs where you get in, you can talk to people, you can create a character in both look and feel and voice. Like I just love games where it's like I want to be the sarcastic rogue badass throughout this game, and I'm just gonna answer all my dialogue points like that, and it's gonna be great, Or I want to be the hard ass who's a lone ranger and doesn't need anybody. You can do that in this game, and it's a lot of fun. And there's guns. There's no weird like Skyrim where you're flailing a pool noodle all over trying to kill things. It's oh man, and what is it called? The VAT system where you like slow down time and it's
Mm.
all tactical. That is so much fun. You should almost check out a YouTube video just of that system because that may make you want to play the game even
Mm.
more because it's just so entertaining. And like Clown Baby saying in the chat room, the cheesy 40s and 50s style of the game, like the music that
Mm.
plays and the weird like it's like, ah, kid, you got Moxie, see? Like there are characters like that that run
I
around.
could totally get behind that.
Yeah. In the intro to the game, like the first hour gives you a really good taste of the world and why it is the way it is. And the way they did that is also interesting and kind of 50s cliche in a way. So it's really good. I'm only like a couple hours in and I'm stuck building a stupid farm right now because I'm OCD like that. But I'd be interested to hear what you think. Oh, Grant is saying Xenoblade Chronicles, but no, that's not the game Jocelyn's
No.
thinking about.
I think maybe I haven't realized how far into November we are already
It's
because
mid-November.
I mean this it kind of hit me yesterday. I know Ryan and I were talking and I just like the amount of time that I have to move is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and I feel like I haven't done anything and I was freaking out a little bit. And I think what the games I was thinking of were like I was thinking of Starcraft, and I was thinking of Fallout, and I was thinking of Call of Duty as like all coming out at the same time. And so I feel like there should still be more stuff coming, but I'm like, no, that's behind us now. That was the first week in November. Come on, get with it, Jocelyn. Like, holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. Like this week was brutal for my wallet, so I'm happy that it's kind of over.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I got Rise of the Tomb I was trying to decide, do I get Rise of the Tomb Raider? Do I just get Fallout? I was just gonna get Tomb Raider and forget Fallout, because I already had StarCraft II. So I was kind of like, what do I do? Oh well, I'll just get them all and then I'll have them all and then I can play them all. And so far that's proving to be good because I'm enjoying them all, but bad in the sense I'm not progressing as quickly as I would hope.
Yeah.
Although Rise of the Tomb Raider, if you have an Xbox One, that game's fantastic. Uh, so we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
I think
more
we're gonna
later.
have to because I was gonna say yeah we're already over time, so
Oh yeah,
we should wrap it up here, and we should
sure.
remind everyone first of all to thank our patron of the week, who is Robert R. This week. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/thegamersin. We would also like to remind everyone that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. we will be playing something. We don't know what. That's up to you, patrons. So if you head on over to patreon.com/thegamersin, there is a post up where you can tell us what to play. From the sounds of it, might be some heroes. I hear that they made some changes to Rocket League, which Matt and I played last night. It is crazy is the only word that I can think of to describe those games. We played with a square ball, so that was fun.
What?
I felt like it really leveled the playing field between Matt and I.
Yeah, because he hasn't gotten good at playing with a square ball. Give him a
Exactly.
couple nights, he'll be
Exactly.
fine.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's probably practicing as we speak. But
Yeah.
so if you would like to see us play something, if you want to see us play, I think the new heroes are supposed to be in Heroes shortly, right?
Oh man, Cho'Gall? Do you think Cho'Gall will be in
That's
there?
that's what I'm thinking. That maybe we can get in there and play some interesting heroes. Maybe you guys can pull me in with all of your
I'm not
co-op-y
good enough
helpful
though.
talk.
We need like John or we need someone who can get in there and kind of explain. Jimmy's really good at it too. Like I should say that Jimmy's really good at it. Josh is getting back into it.
There
They're
you go.
probably
Yeah,
they're
see,
probably
I'm
hearing this
thinking
and it's
maybe
like,
this is going to be a heroes night. But yeah, so you guys should
okay.
head on over to patreon.com/thegamersin and tell us what you want to see us play tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That will be live streamed over on twitch.tv/JossPlays. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, Speaking of streaming, it is that time of year again, guys. So, November 14th, this coming Saturday, we have our Extra Life event. So, most people were crazy and did their event last weekend when BlizzCon was on. That was November 7th. Because I was away at BlizzCon, we are doing it a week later. We're doing it the 14th. We have a crazy streaming schedule for you guys. We have all kinds of games. We're going to be playing Mass Effect 3 as per tradition. We're going to play some Depth. We're going to play some Killing Floor 2. We have Heroes of the Storm, Dungeons & Dragons, Viscera Cleanup Detail, which was a fan suggestion. I don't even know, but it's happening. We're gonna do some Starcraft II Archon mode. So we're gonna have 4 people, 2 on each team, and we're just gonna go 2-on-2 Archon mode. We're gonna play some Overwatch. Kyle from ITN is gonna be joining us, so we'll be playing some Overwatch. We're gonna keep talking and hope no one explodes, although if our last attempt at this is any kind of showing, someone's gonna explode. We're gonna play some Rocket League, we're gonna play some Smite, and then we're gonna do something right at the end. It's gonna be a surprise, and it's gonna be super fun, especially when we're gonna be a little drunk and a little exhausted. But if you can manage to stay up until somewhere in and around probably 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern time, we're gonna have a treat.
Yeah. So the way that treat will work is basically like the first person who says, "Guys, I got to go," and either go to sleep or go get quiet time with their 3DS and quietly fall asleep. We're going to stop whatever we're doing and do this cool thing, and that should provide at least an hour of entertainment.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that person who wanted to go to bed is like, okay, now I want to go to bed. Just a couple notes, like Rocket League and Smite. We did this last year for some fun, and Rocket League, Smite. We're gonna do some drinking rules just for fun, not to get completely trash again. It is a charity. It's for the kids.
It's a charity. It's for the kids. But also, if you drink too much, then you want to pass out. And the whole idea is staying awake. So you can't do that.
Yeah, so if you want to suggest a healthy and fun drinking game rule, you can certainly donate. Go to bit.ly/TGI2015, TGI all caps. And if you want to suggest a game or want to jump in with us, like just write a comment in there and we'll try it. We will try to accommodate. Our schedule is sort of built to kind of give people an idea of what we're going to be playing and when we're going to be playing, but it's not set in stone. And we will certainly have moments like Heroes of the Storm where we can say, okay, everybody get in here. Let's do a 5v5 custom match. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it is about your donations. Us playing video games is sort of the front-facing thing, but don't get us wrong. Like, it is about these donations that are 100% for the kids, to the kids, and are tax deductible. It's so much fun. But sometimes it's like, no, this is also about raising donations. So if you haven't already, at least click the link, check it out, and if you can donate, great. If you can't, that's also fine. Tune in, share it with your friends, spread the word. It is odd that we're doing it the week after. I felt semi left out last weekend, because everybody was talking about it. So
I feel like there's going to be more people doing it this weekend than we realize, I think.
Oh, I think so too.
The tag is still going to be available on Twitch, so you guys can check out all the Extra Life streams, and if you would like to support us, we would ask you to please do. Again, that is bit.ly/TGI2015. And yeah, we will be tweeting the crap out of it. We will be streaming from, I think we start at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern?
We will be streaming 10 a.m. Eastern. We're all starting at different times, but 10 a.m. will be when we sort of jump in and do the, hey, how are you type thing.
Kick off the stream?
Yeah, we'll kick it off. I don't know, hardcore?
Oh, yeah.
We'll ease into it. It'll be a lot of fun, and it will be 24 hours of gaming, and I always love the folks that just are in the chat room all day and kind of just hanging out with us, because that also helps.
Yeah.
It keeps us sort of engaged with the games and with the charity and keeping it going. And you're right, a lot of people will be doing Extra Life this weekend because there was a lot of folks at BlizzCon. It is sad that it sort of kind of fell on the same date. I think it might have just been unlucky, stuff that happens. But yeah, no, I'm super stoked for Extra Life, and it's 2 days away, which is crazy to think about, but it's happening. I do hope at least everybody certainly go click on that link, check it out, share it with your friends, and the donations do help. If you're saving your donations for game day, we certainly do appreciate it. I was telling the team that a lot of our donations come in on game day, so we shouldn't be discouraged. But again, if you guys can check it out, or at least come watch for a little bit, especially in the evening, like
Yeah.
2 a.m. when we have people watching us at 2 a.m., that really helps.
Yeah, that
Because,
definitely keeps us going for sure.
Yeah, we've been talking to each other for now at that point like 18 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like
I've
especially
started to tune Ryan out. I just don't even hear him anymore. So if he's saying stay awake, stay awake, stay awake, I'm just like,
I'm pretty sure there was one year where I said you should stay awake but go play Mass Effect 3, and then she disappeared.
yeah.
And then James, who had been up for that at that point like 36 hours, played Outlast with me, so that was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So just wanted to remind everyone again that we are doing a different time until December 9th because of Ryan's fancy schmancy baby classes. So you can check out amove.tv/calendar for all of the changes, but we are going to be recording at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays now instead of 7 p.m. So 2 hours later. So come and check us out live if normally you can't, because it's only going to be for about the next month or so, and then we'll be back to regular time. So if you like the later time, check us out in the next 4 weeks. If you'd like to visit us on the web, you can do so at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on Amove TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including The Angry Nerd, Into the Nexus, Overwatchers, and of course, The Angry Chicken. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at Joss Plays. I almost said GIS Gamer. I still can't even get used to that. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/amovetv. You can also find the show on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show and let us know what you thought about BlizzCon this year, you can do so by emailing info@gamersinpodcast.com. So thanks for staying at The Gamers Inn, and remember, tune in next week. Bye, everybody.
See you at Extra Life.
Technically, probably game night. Game night, then Extra Life.
See you at all the fun stuff we're gonna do.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.